shake off being hurt early in this fight to do what he did.
Now, that was too close for comfort.
You know, no disrespect to Jose Ramirez, but I've never been too high on him. Never. Don't get me wrong. Quality 140-pounder. You know, we're going to do the rankings because I'm trying to figure out if I have him in my top 5 of 140-pounders right now. Rances Barthelemy put on a spirited performance. Should have got a knockdown in round number 3 against Jose Ramirez, but it was shenanigans. I guess you can look at it for those who didn't see the fight. Jose Ramirez was eating some punches, especially a left hand to the body, similar to the left hand to the body that stopped Dulorme earlier or the fight before this. But he got caught with several left hands that ended up stumbling him in pretty much what should have been a knockdown. But Rances Barthelemy kept hitting Jose Ramirez while he was on the ground. Jack Reese, the referee, could have took a point, but he didn't. So I'm guessing maybe he didn't rule it a knockdown to punish Rances Barthelemy for that. But overall, just how can I say, Barthelemy is not known to be a guy to be into too many exciting fights. He is somewhat, I call him rancid Barthelemy, because he's been in some stinkers before, and I've sat through this shit ill. One of the worst fights I've ever watched in my life was Rances Barthelemy taking on Robert Easter. It was horrible. That was back in 2019. It was horrible. By the way, can you believe Canelo Munguia is next week? So, of course, Jose Ramirez should get a 12-round decision. This is his first fight since signing with Golden Boy Promotions. And I just don't know. I'm not saying I expected him to stop Rances Barthelemy. Maybe I kind of did. But we're going to listen to the cards, listen to the post-fight interview, and listen to what's next and what I think should be next. But hopefully they don't bullshit around with him, because he's had I just have not been a fan of the management. Just haven't been. Some very questionable moves for the team of Jose Ramirez. Very. And then fighting Rances Barthelemy. Oh, let's listen in.
Hey, get him over here.
Fernando Villarreal and Zachary Young each scored this contest 119-109. Steve Morrow had it 118-110. All three for your winner by unanimous decision from the Central Valley, Avenel, California, Jose El Jefe Ramirez.
So the right man did win. We do have that. But now when you look at it, it's like who's next? And I'm going to give my top 5 140-pounders and talk about who logically can fight Jose Ramirez next. Maybe he'll get some of that Saudi money. Anybody can get it now. We got Vergil Ortiz on the card. Maybe they can put together a dream fight or a very good fight. By the way, Rances Barthelemy is 38 years old, by the way. Pretty long in the tooth in boxing years this time. You know, but he's been in a lot of battles. Only stoppage was to Gary Antoine Russell. This is where a lot of people thought it should have been a knockdown. That right there. That's the issue I was talking about. And look, he just kept tagging him with that left hand. So his only loss was to Josh Taylor, but it's been pretty up and down since then. Depending on how you look at wins over Richard Comey and Jose Pedraza, at this point in time in the career when he fought them, they were gatekeepers, holder of the keys. He fought them after losing to Josh Taylor. Maybe we can get the Josh Taylor rematch. He's fighting Jack Catterall in a few weeks. Maybe. When is that? That's on the 18th, right? No, the 25th of May. So a month from today. 4 weeks. We're waiting for the post-fight interview. That's what we're waiting for. They're showing highlights. I didn't even know there was that many highlights in this fight. But yeah, it was at one point in time, going into round number 12, Jack Reese had to go to the corner of Rances Barthelemy and said, look, if he keeps going on the ropes like that, you know, I'm not seeing him defending himself. I'm going to have to stop the fight. One of the people from the corner of Rances Barthelemy said, yeah, he's like this all the time in camp. And Jack Reese goes and says, really, he's always getting hit like this in camp? I thought it was pretty funny. So overall, if I was to rate this card, scale of 1 to 10, I'm giving it a 4. Listen in.
You come away with the win. Although about 4 rounds in, I was starting to wonder, were we going to see another big upset here on DAZN? How'd you feel about your performance?
No, it wasn't the best performance, you know, but I want to thank, first and foremost, I want to thank God. Quiero agradecerle a Dios por las bendiciones, por tanto amor aquí en el público de Fresno, de Valles Entrar. I want to thank Jesus, man, for all the love, all the blessings, you know, first and foremost. Now, going back to my fight, it wasn't the best performance in my career. You know, I think I got overly excited. You know, I think I felt cold during that fight. You know, I could hear people screaming my name, and I could see familiar faces and ringside. So I was, you know, there was times in the fight, many times in the fight where I was losing, I was getting distracted.
A couple rounds in, it looked like exactly the kind of fight that you wanted. Then you couldn't seem to get away from that left hand of his. What adjustments did you have to make?
Yeah, I knew that, you know, that's all he does. He goes into that southpaw and throws that left hand. You know, and during that moment in that round, I swear I could, you know, I got distracted from the fight and I got hit with one punch and it motivated him. You know, if that wouldn't have happened, if I wouldn't have get distracted, if that wouldn't have happened, I think he would have just, you know, I would have broke his spirit. But, you know, I think that punch of his kind of kept him in the fight. You know, it kept him believing that he could probably do it again. So that was a lesson learned for me.
You trained for an orthodox opponent. He switches styles a lot. How much did that style switching bother you early on?
Well, it seemed like it did, but honestly, I fought many guys who were southpaws in my career. You know, it was just something that I had to adapt and I tried to do it, but, you know, some of that rust, man, I fought twice in the last, 3 years, so this is fighting once a year is obviously it's not a good look. So, you know, I was a little rusty in there.
Yeah, first fight in 13 months. It's your third fight in the last 3 years. How much do you think that contributed to a little sluggishness early on?
Yeah, no, big time. You know, and an active fighter that's not good. You know, it's not good to be inactive. But hey, you live, you learn. You know, I go back to the drawing board and back to the gym and get ready. You know, I feel like I have what it takes to compete against the best 140-pounders, and I just gotta stay consistent. You know, obviously, you know, I don't know after this performance. You know, I know I won the fight, and I knew many rounds I won them, and I took it easy and just kind of winning the rounds. But that's not how I fight. You know, I like to go in there and live my heart. You know, instead of just box and win the fight. And I know that's what the fans like to watch. And you know, I want to apologize for not giving that version of Jose Ramirez, but. You know, I wish to get back in the gym again and you know, get started where I left off.
It's obvious, it was obvious this week that the stress of finding a new promoter and your exit from Top Rank, that had an effect on you. Was it, in a way, therapeutic to get back into the ring, get back doing what you love? Yeah,
you know, I know what I could do inside that ring. So once I was in the ring, you know, just being me, there was a couple of rounds where I felt like, you know, the fight was in my hands, and I just, you know, I was able to do whatever I wanted, you know. But in the higher level of competition, when it comes to facing the best, you can't give them no encouragement like the way I gave him an encouragement. You know, I was a much better, stronger, faster fighter. I had more tools in my toolbox, you know, than he did. He only had one punch that he was trying to do, and it was my fault that one punch kept him in the fight, kept him motivated, and you know That's the reason why I went the distance. In the 11th round, I hurt him with the body shot, with a jab to the body, you know. And if I would have just been me since the first round, I think I would have taken him out early.
You said you want to face the best. You're still a player at 140 pounds, a former unified champion. What's the fight you want next?
Anybody at 140, man. It's not for me to be active, you know. I don't want to sit around. Whoever Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, the whole staff and my team has in mind for me to face next. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm ready to fight anybody. And, you know, the fights like this where, you know, you don't look your best, but then you come and you fight and you stay motivated in the gym, and then the next fight you become you become a different animal. So that's what I hope to do.
It's your 8th fight here at Save Mart Center, 3rd straight coming back home. I'm told that the attendance tonight set a record for any fight here at Save Mart, set a record for your fights. What do you have to say about the support you get here in Central California?
Yeah, it's, I'm very
sell some
thankful
tickets,
for all the
though.
support, man. The Central Valley is the home of a lot of hardworking people, very family-oriented. And if you go out there with the stands and talk to the people, you realize it's a family-oriented place where you see grandparents, fathers, and their kids come together to watch a fight. So I'm thankful with Oscar De La Hoya for giving me the opportunity, and Golden Boy Promotions, and Robert Garcia, my manager, Rick Merrigan, my family, for making this all possible.
I'll let you get back to your kids. Seem to want your attention right here. Congratulations.
So let me go ahead and say this. I remember that story. They turned down $2 million to not fight Teofimo Lopez. And he has a history of turning down fights. Now, if you look at his resume, as I said, I don't give him no stripes. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad fights, especially for a comeback fight after losing to Jose Ramirez. Well, let's see what he has to say.
Jose Ramirez.
He's ready for a world title. Might have one more fight, but I think he's ready for a world title against any 140-pound champion of the world.
All right, Oscar, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thank you so much, Chris.
You know who I see? I don't see Arnold Barboza. They used to be under the same management team. But given the way his manager works and his career's been, do not be surprised if we see him fight. A fight either we don't really care about, or a big man Sean, the public nuisance McComb, the guy who got robbed. I am calling it a robbery, and I never call a lot of fights robberies, like when they're close, but this was a robbery. The wrong man won. Sean McComb should have beat Arnold Barboza last week. And he got the shit in of his decision. This man, Sean McComb, on an upset card in hindsight, where Devin Haney lost to Ryan Garcia, he was the chief support. I guess you could say the co-main event, co-feature, co-main event, whatever you want to say. And he's the one that woke the card up before Devin Haney got into the ring with, here's the punch stats, by the way, with Ryan Garcia. So I think that he should deserve his own card. And with the way Jose Ramirez is looking, he's got to sharpen up, because the way those nasty punch stats. The way things are looking, I'm probably going to pick big, nasty Sean McComb. That's who I think they should. If he's not going to fight Arnold Barboza next, I doubt it. I doubt it. Or if he's not going to get like some Saudi money, I doubt it. But listen, I can't really respect this. You know, it's like, okay, all right, lay off, whatever reason. You could have fight Teofimo Lopez. But outside of the Josh Taylor fight, Victor Postol, long in the tooth. Josh Taylor, boom. Jose Pedraza, Richard Comey, Rances, Barthelemy. These are names that meant something 6+ years ago. And he's been fighting them in the last 3. Even Maurice Hooker was a little bit, battle worn. So if you really look at it, like what names really, like what would you say is the biggest win of his career? Right now, what would you say the biggest win of? The Antonio Rose Code app, that's aged pretty well, I guess. But look at the guys he's been fighting. Mike Reed, Amir Imam, Antonio Roscoe, Jose Zepeda, Maurice Hooker, Victor Postol. I would say, to be honest, I can't, like I'm looking at these guys, they're all kind of on the same level, from Zepeda, Hooker, Postol, Pedraza, Comey. Who's the least of all of those? I would say, let me rate these wins. Now, of course, we can debate. A Rose Code number 1. Shit. Zepeda number 2. Pedraza number 3. Comey number 4. Postol number 5. Personally. I mean, but either way, they're not nothing where I look at the top guys and be like, yo, Jose Ramirez can hold his own. Because when he really, really stepped up, the Josh Taylor, he got beat down. So looking at the division right now, who would he fight that's under the banner that they could possibly make? We're not going to see him versus Richardson Hitchens. I doubt that unless the Saudis make that fight. We're not going to see him against maybe Pro Gray. Maybe. I doubt that. We supposed to been. I doubt that. O'Hara Davies, he want to come back? Maybe the loser of Catterall, Josh Taylor? Or the winner, he can fight the winner. But it's time for him to start moving, stop turning down money, because, look, one day he's going to get his ass knocked out. And then he's going to have, look, he had some issues with early in the fight against Rances Barthelemy. If that's not telling him, hey, bro, them paydays come, you know, don't turn them down, especially if the Saudis come knocking, because there's fights that can be made that he can have on the zone platform, even if it's not within the Golden Boy stable. But like I said, don't be surprised if it's going to be some bullshit from his management. Mark my words. Do not be surprised. Like, there's some weird, shady moves that's been going on, you know. But take your time out, like the video, subscribe, and TstreeT Controversy with 5U360.